Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, Lost Legend TV. I'm James.
And I'm Scholar.
You might notice this is Ray. Usually it's me and Ray, or Ray doing the reviews, but today we're doing a review because me and Scholar want to watch this movie.
He's locked in the basement right now. I hate it here.
We watched Immaculate today. We're going to just talk about the movie. First off, because why don't you give them like a brief description of the movie?
Okay, so this movie is about a girl who goes to a convent. A convent,
yeah.
Yes. She goes to a convent because she wants to become a nun. And while she's there, she mysteriously has a baby. Like Immaculate Conception type thing, you know, like Jesus. She's trying to figure out, like, how did this happen? And the people in the church is trying to take the baby from her, basically.
Yeah. Not really take the baby from her. They're like trying to make sure she conceives.
Yes.
Like they want her to have the baby. So literally, it follows Cecilia, Sister Cecilia, the entire film. Like I said, you got points where like the person Isabella, like the person who like shows her around, definitely has an attitude with it. And then there's another woman named Gwen who she becomes like friends with and shit. The whole idea of the movie, at least, is we've got Isabella trying to find her purpose in a way because she had drowned as a child. Well, not drowned. She was like seven, and she like fell into a lake of freezing water, and she was dead for 7 minutes, and she was resuscitated. From that, she believed that God had a purpose for her. So she decided to join a convent, and then that one got shut down, so she moved to this new one. Personally, I think it just dragged too long for it to be a thriller. It started off with a scene of like action, like a girl running to the gate, trying to get out of the fucking convent, freaking out, like trying to get out, and then they like break her leg, and then after that we got like a good 30 minutes with nothing.
Yeah, I think the issue with this movie is it wanted to be a thriller movie, but it also wanted to be a horror movie. It couldn't mold the two together. Mm-hmm. Sometimes movies can do that.
And I found all the jump scares pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Like I could see them coming, like when they were gonna do them. It wasn't like there was bad acting in the film. It wasn't like there was...
Sydney Sweeney did a really good job.
She very much did. It had great cinematography shots, honestly. It looked very well shot.
Yeah, this is a movie that had a lot of money put behind it.
So here's the thing. It's a very artsy film. And if you enjoy that, you'll love this movie. Personally, I didn't. Because I went into it expecting it to be a thriller horror and did not get that. It was a lot of like I said, there was great shots. There was one shot where they literally had her blurred out, completely blurred out, but like everything else was in focus.
Yeah. And
it was like all around, and I was like, that's a fucking beautiful shot. I love that.
Yeah.
Overall, it dragged, man. Like Scholar said, I can't believe that movie was only 80 minutes. I was like, it felt like it was almost 3 hours to me.
The actual story of the movie is great. Like I
like the plot, yes.
Yeah. It's just the execution of it just didn't.
There were some spots that just didn't fully make sense to me. When you first see Cecilia, she's in Italy and she doesn't know how to speak Italian. She knows how to speak a little bit, very little. And these dudes are like, trashing her for like, because she's a pretty woman and she's joining the convent. The thing was like, there was literally a dude walked up to her and was like, hey, what's up? This is my name. Or like he was speaking all in Italian. And he just grabbed her suitcase and walked. And she's like, okay, this must be my driver. That's not how that works. They should have had a translator in that moment.
I made the comment, this could have been Hostel Part 2 all over again.
Exactly. And she just got in the car with him. The bad guy, for the longest part, I thought the thing was he was having his way with the women. Because like, Celia drinks wine and then goes somewhere and she passes the fuck out. And then the next time then she starts like, the next time you see her, she's like taking a bath and like she throws up and now they're checking her because like she's pregnant. It's like, it's got to be an Immaculate Conception. And they played it like they didn't know this was happening, but spoiler alert, these motherfuckers planned this shit.
This is gonna be kind of like a strange thing to go on about. I kind of understand the themes of this movie. I feel like this movie is like very anti like abortion. Or no, it's pro-abortion in a way.
I can see that,
Because it's religious people acting like God and trying to make this woman have this baby.
Okay, I can see that.
Yes.
I think my whole thought process, because I will say this, I semi enjoyed the ending.
Yes. You want to just go into the ending?
We probably will, yeah. But I feel like the whole thing is like, yeah, it's Immaculate Conception, but it's more of like if it was just like if she had just woke up and she was, you know, pregnant and there was no reason for it, like she didn't like have sex or anything like that, they were like treating her like they were, because they were treating her good at first. I think had they done that the whole way through, she would have just had the baby.
And you can also tell, like,
so I don't think that's the reason I can't go full like it was pro. They made the situation worse.
But in my opinion, you can kind of see
I can see
throughout the whole movie that like she doesn't really want this baby throughout the whole thing. She doesn't have like this moment where she's like, oh,
if you put yourself in her position, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've never had sex, right?
Yeah.
You've given up that life because you want to be a nun. Mm-hmm. And you wake up one day and you are pregnant. You would be so confused and so caught off guard, like you wouldn't know what to do. And I think there was a lot of emotions going through that, why you would think that she didn't want the baby.
Yeah.
I do think had we gone the whole time where it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna trick, because like there was literally one point where like the is it sister mother? She was like, you ain't gotta work at all. You just do whatever you gotta do. Worry about the baby. You worry about the baby. We'll care for you. And if they'd have done that the whole time, treated her like a mother, I don't think there would be any issues. But when she started having problems, like when she's like threw up her tooth and she wanted to go to an actual hospital, and they were like, no.
Yeah, they wanted to be in control of it.
That's when you start seeing like, okay, well, she doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, because she knows that they're doing something. There's something off if you can't take me to a regular hospital. Just so I can. Now, if we go to the ending of the film, I mean, I'm skipping to the ending. There's not really a lot to go for. There was the woman who like was walking around, Isabella. She tried to kill her. Like she tried to drown her in the bath.
And then she ends up killing herself by jumping off of a building or jumping off the tower.
And I was wondering if it was like she was pushed.
She may have been.
Her face was fucked up, but granted, if you fall face first, I'm really conquering.
Oh, and then a woman that was friends with Cecilia, she goes off on all of the priests and stuff, and it's like, you're just gonna stand there like nothing happened.
Oh,
like,
she was cussing them out, bro.
Yeah, and then you see like she gets taken away, and then towards the end of the night, Cecilia comes and sneaks out of her room, and you see the people, like the priest and stuff, cutting her tongue out, and then later on you see that they actually just killed her, you know?
Yeah. And they also branded the women that they had tried.
Yeah, the bottom of the feet.
Yeah, because she found a woman earlier that had that, but you can see that that's what they were doing.
And that's another point I wanted to make about the movie. I do think that even though it wasn't like super crazy like Saw was, I do think that this movie did have some good body horror elements to it.
It definitely had some good shots of gore and everything like that. That was definitely good. But basically in the end, she snaps. Like Cecilia fucking snaps.
Yeah, she tries
like in her third trimester.
At the beginning of the movie, they're teaching her how to like make, I guess, food, and they teach her how to kill a chicken. And towards, I think, her second or third trimester, she kills a chicken and stuffs it at the bottom of her bed, and then pours the blood all over her body to make it look like she's losing the baby, so she can get into a car and escape. And then somebody...
I think in that point she was wanting a doctor to look at the baby.
Yeah.
Like a regular doctor. Because they have a doctor at the convent.
But, of course, he's in cahoots with all the people, so...
She gets caught, and, like, the sister mother, like, scolds her and shit, even slaps her for, like, you know, pretending to be, like, hurt. Like, how dare you make us believe that the second coming was hurt or whatever, because they really truly believe this is the second coming of Jesus. Basically, third trimester comes, she's had it. They're like, the sister mother's like doing the pregnancy thing, where like the ultrasound. She just snaps, she grabs something, she just smacks this bitch.
Yeah, she goes full Ellie
Yeah. She 100% said she could have stopped. It would have been different if it was all in a fluid motion for me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if it was like this the whole fucking time, okay,
yeah.
Then she was already past that or whatever. But she literally went bam.
But then
Like she took seconds between it, and like after that first shot to the fucking eye, that bitch was dead.
And then as she leaves the room, her water breaks and she's going into labor.
And then of course she says, "God damn it!"
And
like, she's just like
she's having to fight off all of these people while also being in labor.
Yeah, making it extremely harder on her. And she goes through everybody. She kills the fucking father of the church. She strangles him with the fucking rosary beads. I will say there's one part where she was talking to the father where she took her nail off. There was no fucking point in that. She literally just peeled that bitch off. And that was just like a grotesque thing for it. But I was like if it was like a reason. Like, if they had peeled it off like as a torture thing?
Maybe she did that to show that them torturing her isn't working anymore.
But either way, like, she goes through, like, all these people, and then she comes down to the priests who, like, you know, set it all up. And, like, because he comes down to the labs where she's at. Like Skylar said, she had ethanol. And she basically dumped it all over the lab. She tries to get out. He grabs her by the hair. He's holding her through this door that has like a metal frame but like a window area, and he's holding her through that, and she just drops the lighter where the gas was. He falls back. She goes crazy,
and then she's in like I guess the underground part of the church, the catacombs, and she's trying to escape, and he comes back
on his like hard two-face
and
shit.
Then he pins her to the ground and then stabs her stomach and tries
with a scalpel. He's literally trying to take the baby out.
Yeah, he's trying to like give her a C-section, you know.
And at this point, like nothing about this is like a religious thing. Like if you were truly children of God, I don't think they would have done this shit.
It's definitely just they wanted to control her pregnancy, basically. That's all it was.
It was a lot. And then basically after she kills him, because she's like stabs him with the nail from Jesus' crucifixion.
The nail off of the
his
crucifix that went through his hand.
Yeah, like she killed him with that by stabbing him in the throat, and then they obviously have the blood splatter on her face.
She's trying to push out the baby when she escapes the catacombs. Mm-hmm. And the baby, I guess, just falls to the ground. Yeah,
I will feel like this is the part where some people would probably be against this movie.
Yes.
Because if you don't want to hear this, feel free to skip.
Yes.
Whatever. She delivers the baby, but when the baby comes out, it doesn't. If you've had a child, or if you've even seen shows where babies come out, you know what happens when the baby comes out. It starts screaming. There's all this other stuff.
If it doesn't scream, if it doesn't cry, there's something wrong with it. And if there's no doctors around to help the baby, then the baby's not going to survive.
But what you did here was...
I think it was a demon baby. There was something wrong with that baby.
Yeah, there's definitely just... Because I can't think demon, because if they're trying to say they've got it from Jesus' DNA, like actual Jesus, I don't see him producing the Antichrist.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was, but the baby definitely wasn't healthy, and then for whatever reason she was like gone at this point, like mentally, like after all the stress and crap that they had put her through. I think this was just like a big FU to the convent.
But she takes a boulder from the ground and puts it up on top of her head and slams it on the baby, kills it, and that's the end of the movie.
Personally, I don't think I would want to watch this movie again. I can see the good things of this film. It's very artistic, very well acted. Again, I love the cinematography of this film. It's hard to understate that. But for me, the story, even though I enjoyed the plot, like the idea that they had, it dragged for me.
Yeah.
It made it very difficult to sit through this entire movie.
I actually think...
And like the acting was good, it just wasn't like over the top or like spectacular. I was like, fuck, I'm so invested in these characters.
But I think that this movie could have gone for about maybe 15 more minutes, right? And they could have added a little more flair to it, you know. They could have added like a little more horror, a little more suspense to it. The premise of it was very good, but it just they didn't execute it well.
Skylar, usually for these we do a ranking. Like, not ranking, we rate it. I'm sorry. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being like an average movie, what would you rank this movie for you?
I would say I'd probably put it about 6.5 to about a 7.
I'm gonna go 5.5. Only put it there because I do enjoy like the actual shots of this film. It's just the plot. There's some things that just are missing, and there's some things I was like, I wish we'd had more. Like I said, there's a good 30 minutes at the beginning of this film where there's nothing. Like the only other horror thing they have is like a shot of a nun in the dark, and that's it. A shot of a nun in the dark, turn the lights on, it's not there. That's the only thing they gave us for about 30 to 40 minutes of this film. Straight. Fucking every second some shit happening, but I need a little spacing.
I think they
bad spacing was what I'm thinking.
I think they could have took all of the horror elements out of this movie and just made it a straight up thriller, and it probably would have made it a little bit better. But
I'll rate it at least a slightly above average, only off of the artistic value of But that's it. That's our review of this film. If you haven't watched it, if you really believe you should, we're wrong or I'm wrong or whatever, go watch the film for yourself. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, this is just my opinion. This is just his opinion.
Let us know in the comments what you think about it.
Exactly. Until next time, guys. Deuces.
Deuces.